Okay, guys, let's talk now about some behaviorist approaches to understanding why video games, again, I use the term addictive with caution, knowing what you guys know about it, not really being a disorder yet, but there's a behaviorist approach to why video games, why internet video gaming, why internet gaming can become very easily addictive. So I want to take you back to some thoughts from your intro class. Also, if you've taken learning and behavior mod, many classes you may have taken, this was discussed social psych. I've talked about it in my mental health class. Remember what the behaviorist approach suggests. Behaviorism in general, first of all, is this idea that environmental rewards and punishments shape our behavior, right? So we do something and the environment gives us a consequence. And depending on that consequence, we're either going to be more likely to do something in the future or less likely to do something in the future, right? So I want you to think for a moment about casinos. If you've ever been in a casino, think about slot machines, right? People stick their coin in the slot machine, they pull the handle, and they might get some coins out. They might win, yay, and the coins come out. Then they might pull 2 more times, nothing happens, and then on the 4th pull, woo, yay, the coins come out, right? And so they want to keep playing because they pull it, 4 more times, and the 8th time. So the thing about the way these slot machines work is you don't know when you're going to get a reward. It's not predictable. You don't know every 2 pulls of the slot machine, oh, you're going to get some money. Sometimes it's after 1 pull. Sometimes it's after 4 pulls. Sometimes it's after 8. This is the analogy that has been used to explain from a behaviorist perspective why I'm going to sneeze. Sorry. This is the analogy that has been used to explain why internet gaming can become a more regular and then possibly addictive activity, just like slot machines at a casino. Both slot machines at a casino and internet gaming use what psychologists call a variable ratio reinforcement schedule. Now you have to think back, right? Think back to classes you've taken where you learned about conditioning, in particular operant conditioning. Right? Because operant conditioning is this idea of rewards and punishments from the environment shape our behavior. You learned about reinforcement and punishment. Remember, reinforcement increases the likelihood a behavior will take place in the future. Punishment decreases the likelihood a behavior will take place in the future. But then we have different kinds of reinforcement, right? We also have what are called different reinforcement schedules. You may remember this from intro and other classes you've taken. A schedule of reinforcement has to do with how rewards or punishments are delivered. Okay? Now, in this case, we're talking about reinforcement schedule. So it's going to be only how reinforcements, not punishments, are delivered. So we're talking about when people are getting something from the environment after they make a behavior that is likely to increase their behavior in the future, how is that, quote, reward or reinforcement being delivered? How frequently? Or is it based on the number of responses they make? That kind of thing. Variable reinforcement schedules involve a situation in which you cannot predict how many times you have to make the particular behavior in order to get the desirable reward, right? So it's called a variable schedule because there's no regularity that you can predict in terms of when you will get the reward, okay? It's called a ratio schedule because it's not based on how long you make the behavior, the length of time. That would be an interval reinforcement schedule. It's based on the number of responses you make. That's a ratio schedule. So, for example, fixed ratio would mean you get a reward a fixed or predictable number of times that you make the behavior. So every second pull of the slot machine, you would get a reward. That would be a fixed ratio. Variable ratio means on average, if you were to look across the whole time you played and when the rewards were delivered, on average, you could figure out on average every 4th pull. but the individual rewards that you received varied. Sometimes it was after the second pull, then after 5, then after 8, etc. The thing about a variable reinforcement schedule is you know you're going to get a reward at some point, but you don't know how to predict when. You don't know how many times you have to pull the slot machine before the next money comes. So what do people do? They keep pulling and pulling. More money, more money, more money, more money, because they can't predict, but they're telling themselves, if I just keep playing, it's going to come again. It's going to come again, right? Same thing with internet gaming, behaviorist approaches would argue. People keep playing because they know they're going to get the points at some point. They know they're going to get a reward at some point, but they can't predict exactly when. They don't know if it's after they get to the second level or after the fourth level or things like that. And this applies to all forms of internet addiction, the behaviorists would argue, not just gaming. It applies to just surfing the internet. It applies to chat rooms. It applies to Facebook. It applies to Instagram. It applies to gaming. It doesn't matter. Dating apps, for that matter. They all use these what we call variable or unpredictable reinforcement reward schedules, right? And that keeps people going, right? Like you post something on Facebook, you don't know when you're going to get likes. So people keep checking. They keep checking because they don't know when those likes are coming. So they keep posting things to see if they can get more likes. Dating apps, you put your profile out there. You don't know how many times you have to check it or how many times you have to add to your profile to get somebody to like it or be interested in you. It's all this idea that people are motivated to spend more time on the internet, whatever they're using it for, because the variable schedule of reinforcement is in play. They don't know how much they have to be on it before the reward that they desire comes. And the idea is that the reward is intensified with gaming in particular, but not just gaming, also online pornography, also dating sites, also online gambling, because in these cases, not only is somebody getting the desired reward, they're also getting that combined with a mood enhancing or some form of arousal and stimulation. Pornography, for example, sexual stimulation as well. Video games, you get social rewards by getting to play with other players and network, right? You might identify with a hero in the game and that gives you identity reward. The graphics might be really cool and complex and that is arousing and exciting and elevates your mood state. Dating sites allows people to have these sort of romantic fantasies of meeting the perfect woman, the perfect guy. That enhances mood. That's stimulating as well. Online gambling, people are stimulated by the idea that they can make money. Chat rooms or special interest groups, like a group that's just for people who dance or just for people who are musicians, that also gives you a sense of belonging. So it's not just that you're getting a reward on a variable schedule, it's a reward that can enhance your mood potentially and provide arousal and stimulation, and that makes it even more powerful as a source of reinforcement and reward, and even greater potential that people will stay on the internet for that purpose more frequently and longer. Okay, I'm going to end there and I will meet you on the next video. Where is it?